not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they refuse to learn the rules of the game they're trapped in. You see, money is not fair. It doesn't reward effort. It rewards understanding. And as Machiavelli wrote centuries ago, the ignorant man serves, the wise man commands. When it comes to wealth, that truth cuts deep. You can work harder than anyone you know. You can wake up early, stay up late, hustle every single day, and still stay broke. Because wealth doesn't come from motion, it comes from mastery. Here's the first rule of elite wealth, and it's the one that will decide whether you ever escape the rat race. Wealth starts in the mind, not the wallet. Machiavelli understood that perception creates reality. Rulers knew that power didn't begin on the battlefield. It began in the mind. And money works the same way. The broke think money is about earning. The rich know it's about positioning. The poor see money as a lifeline. The rich see it as a weapon. That difference in thinking changes everything. If you treat money like food, you'll always be hungry. If you treat it like a soldier, it fights for you even while you sleep. That's why most people will never break free. They spend every dollar the moment it enters their hands. They see money as something to consume, not something to command. Now listen carefully, because this is where Machiavelli's insight becomes deadly powerful. He said that those who rule must learn to control appearances, discipline, and the flow of resources. If you don't control your money controls you. Every impulsive purchase, every unnecessary expense, it's a surrender. You're trading power for pleasure. Think about how most people live. They work 40 hours a week to pay off debt from last year's lifestyle. They're fighting yesterday's battles with tomorrow's income. That's not progress. That's servitude dressed up as stability. Machiavelli would call that a slave's game. And he'd be right. True wealth begins when you shift your perception. When you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a strategist. When every dollar becomes a soldier in your private army, an army that expands your influence, builds your independence, and buys your freedom. That's why rich people obsess over assets, not toys. They see money as energy, something to deploy, not display. They don't waste it on things that fade. They use it to buy time, freedom, and control. You want to know the secret to escaping poverty? Stop asking, how can I make more? Start asking, how can I make what I already have multiply? Because here's the ugly truth. If your mind is poor, no amount of money will save you. You'll burn it, waste it, and destroy it trying to feel rich. But if your mind is trained, disciplined, strategic, and cold, even a small amount of money becomes the seed of an empire. So how do you rewire your mind for wealth? It begins with 3 internal shifts. Write these down. They're simple, but they'll separate you from 99% of people forever. Shift number 1. Stop thinking in hours. Start thinking in systems. Poor minds trade time for money. Rich minds build mechanisms that earn while they sleep. Ask yourself, how can this hour build a system that will earn for me tomorrow? Shift number 2. Stop measuring by effort. Measure by results. No one cares how hard you worked. The world pays for outcomes. Machiavelli warned that rulers who confuse motion with power lose both. Your energy must produce leverage, or it's wasted. Shift number 3. Stop reacting. Start anticipating. Every poor decision comes from reaction, to fear, to envy, to impulse. Every wealthy decision comes from foresight. A Machiavellian doesn't react to the world. He shapes it. That's the mindset difference. The broke man wakes up and asks, what do I have to do today? The rich man wakes up and asks, What can I build today that will work for me forever? You can't play the game of money with an emotional mind. You have to become strategic, cold, deliberate. Because money doesn't care how hard you tried. It only obeys discipline. So tonight, I want you to sit down and audit your thoughts, not your expenses. Where is your money going? But more importantly, where is your focus going? If your energy is spent chasing comfort, distraction, or approval, you've already lost. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both." In the world of wealth, it's better to be respected than liked. The man who seeks approval will spend his way into poverty. The man who seeks control will build power that money can't even measure. Wealth is not a paycheck. It's not a car. It's not even a number in your bank account. It's the ability to choose without fear, without permission, without limits. That's real freedom. And it begins right here, with how you think, how you act, and how you command the resources you already have. Because if you can't control your mind, you'll never control your money. And if you can't control your money, you'll always be working for someone who does. This is the first law of Machiavellian wealth. Control your perception, master your thoughts, and train your mind to command money, not chase it. In the next part, we'll go deeper into Machiavelli's second rule, the one that separates the leaders from the followers, the creators from the beggars. Stop asking for permission. Start taking control. Every poor man waits for permission. Permission to start, permission to succeed, permission to think differently. But here's the truth. No one is ever going to give you permission to become powerful, because power threatens the comfortable, and wealth threatens the weak. Machiavelli wrote, "He who becomes a ruler through his own arms and ability maintains himself much more easily than he who depends upon the fortune of others." That line holds the entire blueprint to wealth in the modern world. If you depend on others to validate your worth, you'll live your whole life waiting for an opportunity that never comes. The rich don't wait. They build. The second rule of Machiavellian wealth is brutal, but it's also liberating. Stop asking, start taking. You don't ask for wealth, you claim it. You don't wait for success, you create the conditions for it. The rich understand something most people never will, that money flows toward confidence, direction, and control. The man who hesitates loses. The man who acts wins. You see, society conditions you to obey, to follow the system, to play fair, to wait your turn. But Machiavelli would laugh at that, because the system was never built for you. It was designed to keep you predictable, obedient, and replaceable. And the moment you start thinking for yourself, you become dangerous. That's what true wealth is. Dangerous independence. The kind of power that makes people uncomfortable because you don't need anything from them. Let me be clear. Self-reliance doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means being so resourceful that even when you have nothing, you can still create something. It's mental sovereignty. Think of the difference between a ruler and a subject. The ruler creates rules. The subject follows them. Which are you? When you depend on a paycheck, on an employer, on approval, you're operating under someone else's kingdom. Your freedom is conditional. Your life is leased. But when you learn to generate your own income, to use your mind, your skill, and your strategy to build assets, you start to reclaim control. That's the moment you begin to rule yourself, and ruling yourself is the first step toward ruling your world. Most people think power is external: position, title, status. Machiavelli knew it was internal. Power begins in your ability to act without needing anyone's consent. That's why the broke stay broke. They wait for someone to believe in them. They wait for the right time, the right idea, the right opportunity. But the truth? There is no right time. There is only the moment you decide to stop waiting. When you look at history's wealthiest figures, kings, merchants, founders, investors, they all share one trait. They moved first. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't even have all the resources. But they had the one thing everyone else lacked: the courage to act without permission. And that's what the Machiavellian mind understands, that power belongs to those who take it. So here's the hard truth. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no friend, no boss, no system. They might help you climb, but they'll never let you rise above them. To build real wealth, you have to become your own permission slip. Start the business, make the move, invest, learn, fail fast, adjust faster. Because every moment you wait, someone else is claiming the opportunity you hesitated on. And when you hesitate long enough, you become invisible, just another pawn in someone else's game. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune is a woman. If you wish to control her, you must treat her roughly." Now, he wasn't talking about women. He was talking about opportunity. Fortune itself. It rewards the bold, not the cautious. The man who hesitates loses both time and power. That's why self-reliance is everything. Because once you can move without fear, the world bends differently around you. You see angles others can't. You take risks others avoid. And those risks, when guided by discipline and foresight, turn into massive rewards. Self-reliance means being your own source of energy. You don't wait for motivation. You create it. You don't wait for a path. You build it. And the moment you do, you stop being part of the crowd and start becoming the architect of your own fortune. So how do you develop this Machiavellian self-reliance? You train it daily through 3 core habits. Habit 1, make decisions faster. Hesitation kills momentum. The longer you wait, the more doubt grows. Rich people move fast. They trust logic and act, then they adjust on the move. That's how empires are built. Habit 2, depend on skill, not luck. Luck fades, skill compounds. Machiavelli admired men who prepared for war in times of peace. Learn, practice, invest in mastery, because no one can take that from you. Habit 3, build assets that can't be destroyed overnight. Your job can vanish. Your market can collapse. But knowledge, discipline, and systems, they survive every storm. That's how Machiavellian wealth endures. You see, money follows leadership, and leadership begins with self-rule. If you can't lead yourself, your emotions, your habits, your actions, you'll never command wealth. That's why every person who truly becomes rich goes through a moment of rebellion, a moment where they stop obeying and start commanding. It's the day they stop waiting for the world to give them something and start taking what they've earned. So stop begging for permission. Stop explaining yourself. Stop apologizing for wanting more, because those who wait for approval end up working for those who never asked. This is the Machiavellian law of self-reliance. Depend on no one. Move with confidence. Command your fate. Because the day you stop asking is the day you start becoming unstoppable. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the 3rd rule of Machiavellian wealth. Why comfort is the silent killer of greatness, and how to use discomfort to build unstoppable momentum. The greatest enemy of wealth isn't poverty, it's comfort. Poverty can push you, discomfort can sharpen you. But comfort kills you quietly. It whispers, "You're doing fine." It tells you to take a break. It rewards you for being average. And before you know it, years have passed. You're older, softer, still dreaming, still broke. Machiavelli warned rulers that luxury breeds weakness. He said, "The prince who becomes effeminate and indulgent loses the respect of his people and the power of his state." In our world, that state is your mind, your empire. And when you start craving ease more than excellence, you lose the throne long before you realize it. That's the third rule of Machiavellian wealth. Seek discomfort. Reject stagnation. Grow ruthlessly, because money, real wealth, only flows to those who expand faster than everyone else. And growth never comes from comfort. Look at the most powerful people in history. They were not comfortable men. They were constantly fighting ignorance, resistance, opposition, and even themselves. Every time life tried to lull them into ease, they broke the pattern. They sought challenge. They chased friction, because they knew the second they became comfortable, they became replaceable. And that's the truth most people can't handle. You're not stuck because you're unlucky. You're stuck because you're comfortable enough not to move. Your job pays just enough. Your habits give you just enough pleasure. Your excuses sound just reasonable enough. And so you stay still, waiting for motivation that never comes. Machiavelli would call that a citizen's death. You're alive, but you've stopped advancing. The rich, those who think strategically, use discomfort as a compass. They understand that pain isn't punishment. It's proof that you're entering a new arena. Proof that you're stretching beyond the herd. Every breakthrough begins with a breakdown. Every rise in status begins with a fall in comfort. So if you're struggling right now, if you feel tension, pressure, fear, good. That's the energy of transformation. That's your signal that you're moving toward power. Here's how Machiavellian thinkers use discomfort differently from everyone else. They don't run from it. They engineer it. They put themselves in situations that force growth. They train their mind like a warrior trains his blade, by striking it against resistance until it cuts through anything. Think about this. The average person avoids challenge. The elite chase it. And that single difference compounds into everything: status, money, influence, legacy. You can't buy comfort now and expect wealth later. You trade it. You sacrifice it today to purchase strength, experience, leverage. So if you want to become rich, not just in money, but in power and control, you have to treat comfort like poison. Taste it only enough to survive, never enough to depend on it. Let me give you 3 Machiavellian methods to turn discomfort into dominance. Method 1. The discipline of exposure. Expose yourself deliberately to things that make you uneasy. Speak when you'd rather stay silent. Invest when you'd rather hold back. Push your limits before the world forces you to. Machiavelli believed that a ruler who prepares in peace thrives in chaos. Train in chaos before chaos arrives. Method 2. The law of strategic pressure. Apply controlled stress to yourself. Wake up earlier. Take on projects you're not ready for. Force growth through calculated overextension. Pressure creates diamonds, but only when it's intentional. Method 3. The cold reflection. Sit in silence each night and analyze yourself without emotion. Ask, where did I seek comfort today? Where did I avoid the necessary pain? Machiavelli said, the unexamined ruler loses the loyalty of his own fortune. You are that ruler. Your loyalty is your discipline. Understand this. The rich are not necessarily smarter or luckier. They're more comfortable being uncomfortable. They can hold tension longer. They can delay gratification deeper. They can walk through fear and keep moving. When most people quit, the Machiavellian mind smiles. Because that's where power begins. When everyone else retreats, you advance. That's how you separate yourself from the weak. Comfort makes people predictable. Predictable people are controllable, and controllable people never get rich. So if you want freedom, stop seeking safety. If you want control, stop seeking ease. And if you want wealth, stop avoiding the pain that builds it. Machiavelli said it best. A wise ruler must learn how not to be good when necessity commands. That means you must be willing to endure what others won't, to push through fear, failure, and fatigue when everyone else collapses. That's how kingdoms rise. That's how fortunes are built. That's how power is earned. So tonight, I want you to look at your life and identify where comfort has trapped you. Is it your routine, your habits, your relationships, your spending? Cut the softness. Replace it with structure, with risk, with movement. Because every step you take toward discomfort brings you closer to dominance. And every time you surrender to comfort, you sell a piece of your future for a moment of peace. The Machiavellian elite don't seek peace. They create control. And that control comes from one thing: enduring what others can't. This is the third rule of Machiavellian wealth. Kill your comfort before it kills your potential. The pain you avoid today will become the weakness that costs you everything tomorrow. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into Machiavelli's fourth rule: why emotions are the enemy of wealth, and how cold logic builds empires while passion destroys them. If you cannot master your emotions, you will never master your money. That's the cold truth most people refuse to face. Because people think wealth is about intelligence, they think it's about opportunity. But the deeper truth is this: wealth is emotional control. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince who cannot control himself will soon be controlled by others." And when it comes to wealth, that's exactly what happens. The market manipulates the emotional. The powerful manipulate the impulsive. The disciplined rule them both. Every financial mistake is emotional. Every poor decision comes from a loss of composure. Fear makes people sell too early. Greed makes them buy too late. Anger makes them burn bridges. Ego makes them blind. Emotion is the enemy of strategy. And that's why the rich seem cold, because they are. They've learned that feelings can be fatal when money and power are on the line. Here's the fourth rule of Machiavellian wealth: be ruled by reason, not emotion. To build power, you must become emotionally untouchable. You must operate from logic even when your blood burns. You must remain calm while everyone else panics. When others act out of feeling, you act from design. When others get angry, you observe. When others chase pleasure, you plan for position. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He saw rulers rise and fall because they mistook emotion for strength. He said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, love and fear. The weak are driven by love. They want to be liked, accepted, seen. The strong are driven by fear, but not of others. Fear of losing control. That fear sharpens them. It keeps them deliberate. It forces them to think 5 moves ahead while everyone else acts in the moment." Now think about your life. How many financial decisions have been emotional? How many times did you buy something to feel rich instead of becoming rich? How many opportunities did you destroy because you reacted instead of calculated? Every time you let your emotions lead, you hand your power away. And once you lose emotional control, you become predictable. And predictable people can be manipulated. That's why advertisers study your feelings. Why governments use fear. Why markets thrive on panic. Emotion is the leash that keeps people poor. The Machiavellian mind breaks that leash. He trains himself to feel nothing when it's time to make a decision. He knows that emotion clouds clarity, and clarity is the currency of kings. So how do you build this kind of emotional control? How do you become cold enough to think clearly, but sharp enough to act decisively? Here are 3 methods drawn from Machiavellian strategy, each one designed to give you command over yourself. Method 1. Detachment training. When something provokes you, pause. Do not react. Do not explain. Do not respond. Train your body to do nothing until your logic catches up. Machiavelli admired generals who held back when their armies were insulted, because they knew that victory comes to those who strike second, not first. When you feel emotional, delay your reaction by 24 hours. Let the feeling pass. Then ask yourself, does this serve my power? If not, discard it. The ability to detach is the foundation of wealth. Method 2. Emotional inversion. Whatever the crowd feels, do the opposite. When they panic, you stay calm. When they celebrate, you stay skeptical. When they despair, you see opportunity. That's how investors become legends. That's how rulers expand empires while others retreat. Emotion is contagious, but so is composure. Be the man who stands still while the world trembles. Because when the storm passes, you'll be the only one still standing. Method 3. Cold reflection. At the end of every day, dissect your reactions like a surgeon. Ask, where did emotion cost me today? Where did I react instead of respond? Write it down. Study it. Turn your feelings into data. Machiavelli believed that self-awareness is a weapon, and emotional control is what turns that weapon into precision. The truth is, emotion makes you human, but unchecked emotion makes you powerless. And in a world built on manipulation, that's a death sentence. You can't be ruled by how you feel. You must be ruled by what is effective. The world rewards discipline, not drama. Results, not reactions. So when you feel yourself getting emotional, stop. When you want to show off, stay silent. When you want to prove something, walk away. When you want to spend to feel powerful, invest instead to become powerful. That's how Machiavellian minds think. They don't fight emotion with suppression. They weaponize it through control. You want to know the real secret of power? It's this. You must be calm when others are chaotic, because chaos always creates opportunity for the composed. When the market crashes, the rich buy. When others panic, they plan. When others scream, they listen. That's emotional control in action. And here's the paradox. The colder you become emotionally, the warmer your results become financially. Because logic builds longevity, and longevity is the key to empire. You will be tested. Life will try to break your focus through pain, loss, temptation, and chaos. But remember this. The man who remains calm under pressure becomes untouchable, because no one can take from him what he does not give away. This is the 4th rule of Machiavellian wealth. Silence your emotions. Command your reason. Move with precision. The world belongs to those who can stay still in the storm. In the next part, we go deeper into the 5th rule of Machiavellian wealth. How to use perception and power to attract wealth. Why appearance is a weapon, and how to build influence before money ever arrives. Before money comes, power must appear. Before wealth is real, it must first be believed. And that is the 5th rule of Machiavellian wealth. Perception creates prosperity. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you truly are." Those words hold a weapon so sharp, most people will never understand it. Because wealth, like power, is not just about possession. It's about projection. You can have talent, skill, even money. But if the world does not perceive you as powerful, you will be treated as weak. That's why the poor stay invisible even when they work hard, and it's why the powerful keep rising even when they make mistakes. They understand one truth: control the image, and the world bends to it. Machiavelli understood that rulers didn't need to be good. They only needed to appear good in the modern world. You don't need to be rich first. You must appear strategic, capable, in control. Because perception opens doors that skill alone never can. This isn't about faking success, it's about framing it. It's about building an aura of competence so strong that opportunity seeks you. Money follows confidence, and confidence begins with perception management. If people believe you are capable, they invest in you. If they believe you are reliable, they trust you. If they believe you are going somewhere, they follow. The richest people in the world understand this game perfectly. They control how they're seen, by investors, by clients, by the public. They craft their story carefully, not because they're dishonest, but because they know the truth doesn't matter as much as what people believe is true. So here's the brutal secret. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you signal. You could be the smartest man in the room, but if you look uncertain, speak weakly, and act timid, you'll be ignored. You could have the best ideas in the world, but if you present them with doubt, no one will follow. Machiavelli would call that a fatal error of power, because in politics, business, and life, perception is stronger than reality. That's why he advised rulers to appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright, even if they weren't always those things. Because men judge more by the eye than by the hand, the same applies to you. In the world of money, your image is your currency, long before cash ever flows. Your reputation is the armor that protects your value. So how do you apply this Machiavellian law in your pursuit of wealth? Here are 3 precise strategies. Strategy 1. Build the aura of certainty. People follow certainty, not truth. Speak with conviction. Move with intention. Even when you're unsure, act as if you've already decided. Machiavelli warned that hesitation invites challenge, confidence deflects it. The strong don't always know, they decide, and make it right afterward. You don't need to be right all the time. You need to appear unshakable. That's how you attract investors, allies, and influence. Strategy 2. Craft your environment to reflect power. Your surroundings signal your standard. The way you dress, speak, walk, and even post online, each detail is a message. Machiavelli wrote that men judge by appearances more than by reality. So give them something powerful to judge. Your presentation should tell the world, this person commands their world. Keep it clean, keep it intentional, keep it strategic. Because people treat you according to what they see, not what they guess. Strategy 3. Master silence as a signal. The weak talk to prove themselves, the strong stay silent to build intrigue. Silence is the most underrated tool of influence. Machiavelli knew that rulers who reveal too much lose mystery, and mystery is power. Let others wonder what you're thinking. Let them fill the silence with their own assumptions. That's how you control perception without ever speaking. Here's what separates the broke from the powerful. The broke wait for others to validate them. The powerful frame themselves so the world validates them automatically. That's why the first impression matters more than people admit. The moment someone meets you, online, in person, or through your work, they've already decided whether to trust you, follow you, or forget you. And once that impression is made, it's nearly impossible to erase. So you must build your presentation like an empire, deliberate, layered, and unbreakable. Control how you are seen, and you control how you are treated. And once you control how you are treated, you control how much you can earn. That's the Machiavellian chain of power. Perception, position, profit. The rich understand this so deeply they rarely talk about it. Because perception is the invisible force behind every negotiation, every sale, every alliance. It's not about manipulation, it's about management. You manage how others see you so they never see your weakness. So ask yourself, what do people feel when they see you? What story does your image tell before you even speak? Does it say discipline? Does it say direction? Does it say power? Or does it say uncertainty, need, or approval seeking? Because the story they tell themselves about you will determine how they treat you. Machiavelli understood that those who command perception command opportunity. If you appear powerful, people will offer you power. If you appear capable, they will trust you with responsibility. If you appear scarce, they will chase you. That's how influence creates income. So remember this: the poor chase recognition, the powerful design perception. This is the fifth rule of Machiavellian wealth. Appear powerful before you are powerful. Because if you wait for results to earn respect, you'll wait forever. The rich build the image first, then make it reality. The broke wait for proof, then wonder why no one believes in them. In the next part, we'll uncover the sixth and final rule of Machiavellian wealth: how to build legacy through leverage, how the powerful multiply time, money, and influence until they can't be stopped. Wealth without leverage is slavery. Time traded for money is the prison most people never see. Machiavelli knew this. He understood that a ruler's power grows not through labor, but through the strategic use of others, the clever application of systems, and the multiplication of influence. And that, my friend, is the final, ultimate rule of Machiavellian wealth. Leverage creates legacy. Most people work their whole lives believing effort equals reward. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 40 years in a job. They think they are building wealth. But what are they really building? Exhaustion. A life measured in hours, not impact. Machiavelli would call this a trap. A prince does not conquer with his own hands. He conquers with armies, alliances, and strategy. Wealth works the same way. True riches are never a product of personal labor alone. They are multiplied through leverage. Leverage comes in three forms: time, people, and capital. 1. Leverage of time. Time is finite. Money is endless if you know how to multiply it. The rich don't trade hours for dollars. They create systems that earn while they sleep. Investments, businesses, intellectual property, automation, all of these free your time while still generating wealth. Your job can give you money, but leverage multiplies it beyond the constraints of your schedule. Imagine earning the same $50,000 a year. One person clocks in daily, trading sweat for cash. The other builds a system, an investment, or a digital product. 10 years later, who is free? Who owns their life? Who wakes up to opportunity rather than obligation? Leverage of time is the first secret to breaking the cycle of poverty. 2. Leverage of people. Machiavelli understood that no ruler survives alone. Every empire is built on alliances, networks, and teams. The poor resist this. They see hiring, delegating, or networking as extra work, as a drain. The wealthy see it as multiplication. A single person can only do so much. A team, a network, a system multiplies your reach, your influence, and your income exponentially. Look at any powerful entrepreneur or ruler. They don't do everything themselves. They design the plan, lead the vision, and let others execute. That's leverage of people. That's how power scales. Your network is your army. Your influence is your command. The more competent people you bring into your circle, the more unstoppable your kingdom becomes. 3. Leverage of capital. Money makes money. That's a truth the poor never understand fully. They see money as consumption, spending, buying, fleeting pleasure. The wealthy treat money as a weapon, a soldier, a tool to conquer more. Every dollar invested multiplies. Every asset acquired becomes a lever for the next acquisition. Every small victory compounds into empire. Machiavelli would say, a ruler without capital is vulnerable. A wealthy man who hoards cash without leverage is exposed, but a man who uses money to create influence, systems, and power, untouchable. Leverage is what separates the few from the many. It turns effort into empire. It converts discipline into freedom. It transforms knowledge into legacy. Most people never escape poverty because they cling to labor as the ultimate tool. They grind endlessly, thinking that exhaustion equals success. But real wealth doesn't come from grinding. It comes from multiplying. Time multiplied, people multiplied, capital multiplied. These are the engines of Machiavellian power. And here's the harsh reality. If you ignore leverage, all the other rules, mindset, control, perception, mean nothing. Even with discipline, emotional control, and influence, without leverage, you are trapped in the cycle of effort for reward. With leverage, every rule compounds, every action echoes, every decision accelerates your ascent. Legacy is created not by doing more, but by building more that continues without you, investments that earn while you sleep, teams that execute your vision, systems that multiply your impact. That is how the rich secure power that lasts generations. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. In wealth, it's better to have leverage than labor if you cannot have both. Because leverage protects, amplifies, and extends your influence long after your own hours have run out." So let's recap all 6 parts of the Machiavellian guide we've uncovered. Mind over wallet. Wealth begins in perception, not income. Stop asking permission. Seize opportunity. Don't wait for it. Master sacrifice. Delay gratification to build power. Control your emotions. Calmness under pressure is untouchable power. Perception is power. Influence comes before money. Image opens doors. Leverage is legacy. Multiply your time, people, and capital to build wealth that lasts. Ignore these and you remain trapped. Follow them and you ascend. The game of wealth is not for the timid, the emotional, or the impatient. It's for the strategic, the disciplined, the bold. It's a game of vision, calculation, and relentless execution. Machiavelli gave you the map centuries ago. Now the question is, will you take it seriously, or will you stay broke, watching others turn knowledge into empires? Remember, wealth is not luck. Wealth is strategy. Wealth is power applied with precision. And it begins with mastering yourself, commanding perception, and multiplying your influence. The choice is yours. The rules are written. Apply them. Execute. Rise. Because those who understand Machiavelli's laws of wealth don't just survive, they conquer.